is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
This is an exclusive presentation of Dallas Cowboys Breaking News.
That's right. It is breaking news. It's everybody's favorite day of the NFL year, at least in May. It's the offseason's best day, other than maybe the draft. It's 3 weekends. But the NFL schedule is officially out, and we are not going to waste any more time. We're going to reveal it right away. I'm Nick Eatman, David Hellman, Rob Phillips. You guys excited to finally see this thing? And it's been a lot of speculation here. You guys ready to finally see it?
It's the start of the season, right? Like it's real now. You can plan it out. You can look at,
You look at it from like college football and, also
not just that, but like, oh no, they got to go to a cold weather city. They got to, they might be playing in a blizzard. They got 3 home games in a row. So
I say that because we plan our lives around this kind of stuff. So you have to do this. Rob, what are you excited to see here?
I just applaud the NFL for maintaining the news cycle through every month.
Playoffs
in
the NBA and NHL.
One of these days, it's going to be 17 days of regular season release. We're going to have like 12 days of Christmas. Except 17,
I believe you.
17 days worth. Just wait.
The day after the draft will be week 1, and then we'll just go until the start of OTAs.
Genius.
All right. Well, let's get going. This morning, we were informed that the Cowboys are going to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in week 1. So let's look at the first 5 games of the schedule here in 2021. And here they are. Cowboys started off at Tampa Bay, just got the champs. Then they got to go across the country to the LA Chargers, get SoFi Stadium there. Philadelphia Eagles, first home game will be Monday Night Football, first home game of the season, AT&T Stadium. And the Carolina Panthers at home, and then the New York Giants at home. 3 straight home games here to start the season. Let's go to the next week's. Oh, just at the Patriots. That's the throw-in game, right? The
17th. The 17th opponent, I should say.
There's the bye week. What do you think? Is that a good spot, Rob, for the bye week? I mean, it always depends on injuries, but it seems pretty good there.
Anytime you can get it middle of the season, I think that's usually what coaches want. So that's not bad. Better than week 3,
Yep. Sunday Night Football at the Vikings. I said this morning, Dave, I thought that's kind of a pivotal game. There's a team that's kind of similar to them in the standings usually, and so that will be, of course, we'll see how loud it gets in there. How many
I think
fans.
Maybe different decibel level this year as opposed to last.
For sure. Denver there on week 9, November 7th, and then the Falcons. Of course, a lot of former players. Dan Quinn also there. Got to go up against a pretty good tight end over there, and
getting to go against Kyle Pitts.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We number 4 overall pick in the draft.
Remember him. And then Patrick Mahomes comes to town, or actually go worse. You got to go to face him on November 21st, right before Thanksgiving. Raiders on Thanksgiving. That's becoming a every 4 or 8 years. It seems like the Raiders are playing on Thanksgiving. At the Saints on a Thursday night game. And then, Dave, the first time they faced the Washington football team this late in the year.
It seems obvious that the NFL expects Washington and Dallas to be the favorites for this division. For them to come up on this, Washington's been a lock for week 2 every other year for forever now. Get that game out of the way early. Not this year. Not with the reigning champs and the Cowboys getting Dak back. That's going to be primetime stuff.
Yeah, don't forget there. I mean, all this Thanksgiving and you Saints. Don't forget that 3 straight road games at that part in the year, December 2nd. 12th and the 19th, and really 4 out of 5 on that page if you count the Chiefs. I mean, that's a lot of games there on the road against some really good football teams. All right, let's go to the last 3 games, and it sure is different to see 2 games in January in the regular season. But again, Washington on December 26th, that's good for Christmas there. The Cowboys will be at home for Christmas, so that's a good thing. And then Arizona on January 2nd, and at Philly, January 9th to end the season. 15th consecutive year the Cowboys have finished against an NFC East opponent, and 6 of those, I believe, against the Eagles.
The NFL admits it. They love stacking those division games in December. They want the division race. No question about it.
I love it, to be honest.
Yeah, it's good.
You think, and I know the division was bad last year, but you think about that many division games crammed into the last month of the season, it's going to decide it. It makes it fun.
That was the schedule here, sponsored by SeatGeek. Got to make sure and put that out there, presented by SeatGeek, and also tickets are going to go on sale right here in just a few minutes, 7 p.m. Standing room only tickets are the ones available, and they're going to go on sale, so it's very limited supply, and get after that here in just a little bit. And following us, you need to click over to the NFL Network and check out their scheduled release show as well. But we're going to get a chance to break down the schedule here. So you've seen it. We'll throw it back up there as well. But before we do, and here's the first 5 games. But Dave, I'll say first, we'll start with you. What stood out the most? I don't think it's on this page here, but what stood out the most for you?
I mean, I can think of a bunch of things. What I wrote about and I said is Dallas and Washington twice in December. Backloading that rivalry, it just, like I said, I mean, you never know. You can't rule anything out because Washington wasn't supposed to win the division last year, and they did. But on paper, those are the 2 best teams in the division, and saving that rivalry for December, I think it'll probably swing who wins this division if I had to guess. I know it's early, but
this is probably not a good thing to do. But I always look at what's the negative when I see the schedule. I lean towards, okay, what's bad about this schedule? First 2 games on the road. We talked about in the past 0-2. You don't want to do that. Odds of postseason when 0-2, that's not good. So you start 0-2 on. Not 0-2. You start with 2 straight road games on opposite coasts. So from logistically, that's not fun. You got to finish the season.
Unless you're racking up some kind of mileage or points, but we don't do that. So yeah, it's
right. You finish the season on the road, and you mentioned the 3 road games in between straight on the road. So there's a lot about the schedule where you're like, man, it's tough. But you know what? We don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
we don't know what the matchups are. If you're a good team and we think health willing, they'll be good. And better than last year, it won't matter.
You know, I'll look at these first 5 games because I actually, when I broke it down, I look at the positive part of it. You know, I was trying to find it because it did look like every game was a road game. I looked at these 3 games here at home in a row: Philadelphia, Carolina, and the Giants. You better win these games. I mean, if you're going to do anything, because you know it's going to be tough to go up against Tampa, and I mean the Chargers, that's going to be a tough game as well. It's their home opener, and but those 3 games, and I'm not saying they're going to be easy. I mean, all of those will be a challenge, but at some point, as Jason Garrett would say, you got to stack some wins together. If you're going to do some damage, you're going to have to win these games.
You notice anything significant about that Giants game?
Almost 1 year to the day.
364 days from Dak getting hurt in the same game, the same week, the same team, the same building.
Does the NFL plan that?
You can't tell me they didn't. We know if you read about it, the NFL makes 15,000 schedules before they pick the one.
Right.
But I don't think it escaped their attention that was a chance for Dak to play the Giants in the same game. You don't think so?
No, because it would make your head hurt when you realize all of the things you've got to do for a schedule. Like we're talking about concerts at this venue and all these dates that can't work. I just don't think that they type in another factor to say make sure they play. I don't know.
I do agree, and it's so interesting if you ever have a chance to read about it. You got to think about which teams are next to a baseball park and there's a baseball game that day and who's got a concert coming into town and all that type of stuff.
It's fascinating.
Like I said, they use computers to do this. They can churn out, and I just imagine they say, all right, let's build a couple thousand of these that have Cowboys Giants week 5. I don't know. I don't think that's completely unreasonable.
I would say though, if you're gonna do it, that would be a primetime game, right? In terms of if you want to build a storyline around something, you would do that.
At the very least, it's a huge coincidence. I think Dak got hurt on October 11th, so October 10th, same game, same time slot, I believe.
It's crazy.
Interesting.
Those games there, the Giants and the Eagles there in weeks 3 and 5, those are the first 2 division games. But then the last 2 division games until you get to middle of December. Or December 12th. I mean, so it's those your record's going to be either 2-0, 1-1, or 0-2 in the division for a long time until you get to the end.
Maybe that's a good thing. If the division doesn't improve from what it was last year, maybe that's a chance to make some hay in the last month of the season.
True. But Dave's right. I don't think that's a coincidence to have Washington loaded up in December because I think on paper people think these are the top two teams, the teams to beat in the division.
They did that. I'm sorry. They did that for a little while with Philly. Like, they didn't play Philly until Thanksgiving, and then they played them again in December. They've done that. I don't recall this ever happening with Washington. Like I said, it's almost
I looked it up. December the 12th is the latest in the history of the franchise they've ever played Washington.
There you go.
And I don't really know how many times they've played a division team 2 out of 3 weeks.
It doesn't happen often, yeah.
I mean, that's like, can't you just imagine the conference call? Like, well, what changed since the first time? Nothing. Like, the weather, maybe?
Right.
I mean, nothing. What's changed?
A point I wanted to bring up, too, that you kind of touched on is, we're all 3 big college football fans, and it's just interesting to think, college football is like this all the time, where, like, you might play 8 home games and 4 road games because teams want to generate money so you don't go away for out-of-conference. But it really, with this 17th game, 9 road games, like, you kind of look at it and you're like, oh my God, are they ever at home? Like, they play so many road games, and I feel like that's going to be a thing from now on, where, the NFC gets the 9th home game next year, so it's probably going to feel like the Cowboys are always at home next year. But
that's true.
It'll be interesting to see how teams kind of, that's a big swing. Like, I know it seems stupid, but 9 versus 7 is a lot different than 8 and 8.
It's true.
We don't have a graphic for this, so I apologize, but we do know the preseason games are also included in this. We can mention that as well, I guess. And we don't have the graphic for this, but we know that they're going to play the Steelers in the Hall of Fame game. And then the dates and times haven't really been set, but the weekends are there. So really in the first weekend of preseason football, because I guess you could say Hall of Fame is the 0 week if you want to use that. But the first weekend for most of the teams are going to be the Cowboys at the Cardinals, and then they'll come home for 2 weeks and play Houston and Jacksonville.
I hope Tebow's still on the team. That's and hey, so that's the last.
Forget the number
game.
1 draft pick, all that.
No, well, because if it's the last preseason game, Trevor Lawrence probably won't play, and neither will Dak or any of their guys.
See, I kind of disagree. I don't know. I think because there's 2 full weeks now, it's not. It's 2 full weeks. It's not the
same, I guess.
I think they might use it as the dress rehearsal game. I don't know. Teams will have their own.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. So, and there's a bye built in, right?
And there's a bye.
They have. Almost 2 whole weeks between when they finish their preseason and when they play Tampa Bay.
It'll come down to, do you rest them? Is it rusty? Do you want to have them play a little bit?
This is a long stretch here when you think about it. August 5th, the Canton game. Subtract a couple weeks from there to start training camp usually, and you go all the way to January 9th, man. It's a long haul, but hey, we're ready for it.
Why are you stopping on January 9th?
Well,
just kidding.
Actually, then we'll
reassess.
Yeah, we'll reassess.
We reassess from there. Let's go. Let's go back to that second wave of games here. Starting with the Patriots on October 17th. Of course, that's the game that was added with the 17th game schedule. Cool, Cowboys get to face the Patriots.
This is the thing that jumps out to me. I always look at quarterbacks first. Like, who are they playing at the quarterback position? Now, maybe you should focus on run defense.
Good question.
Who's the running backs are facing? But you're catching the Patriots without Tom Brady, but you get Tom Brady in week 1 with a different team. You're not getting Drew Brees this year. But you get Patrick Mahomes 3 days before Thanksgiving. You only get him once every 4 years. So they didn't really catch a break with some of the quarterback stuff. But again, they got their quarterback back. So that's all that matters.
That's true.
What if there's a different quarterback in Denver by the time they play that game? Do we want to go down that road?
Oh my gosh.
Is it like way too early? All right, I'm sorry.
I hadn't even thought about that.
I'm sorry. My bad.
I just heard the 2-minute call here, so we don't.
Yeah, we don't have time to
have time for all that. Let's switch one more time to the next page of games here. Boy, this one's it's going to be a brutal stretch here. I mean, well, and that's what they always say, right? You get to Thanksgiving, we'll see what kind of team you are, but we're going to find out what kind of team, because all these teams are. It's going to be a challenge there. And you talk about quarterbacks.
Derek Carr had a good year last year. Washington has upgraded their quarterback position, we think. So yeah.
And they, 4 out of 5 games on the road on this stretch right here. Yeah, which typically the league likes to give the Cowboys a home game before Thanksgiving. They didn't do it this year. They actually put them against the best team in the league before Thanksgiving. So that's fun.
All right, real quick, we'll look at this last page here, which has expanded playoff dates as well if it gets that far. We'd like to think the Cowboys have a shot at that. But that's how this one ends up. And guys, that we've had to be quick here because we're trying to get in and out before the NFL Network show, which they have their own scheduled release as well. So we'd like to thank Chris Beam for working hard on the back of producing all these and getting those graphics ready for us. For David Hellman, Rob Phillips, I'm Nick Eatman. We'll see you next time. And also we wanted to do a big thanks to SeatGeek for presenting this show for us. Remember, tickets are now going on sale at SeatGeek for all Dallas Cowboys tickets for the 2021 home schedule. We'll see you next time.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?